Welcome to my Stop Fighting with Your Son podcast. If this is your first time here, I recorded 4 episodes especially for you to help you eliminate the fights right away and start connecting with your boy as soon as possible. Go to episodes 54 through 59. I have 4 boys of my own, and I know better than anyone how much you want to have a good relationship with your boy and all the things that can come in your way. If you are a mom of boys, I am the coach for you. Let's go.
Hey guys, how's it going? I just sent off my oldest boy for a 3-day trip. First time, well, he's been away once before to Grandma and Grandpa's for 3 days. But this feels different. He's away for the first time from us and we're home. So I'm not sure how I feel about it. I feel fine, but in my mind, I'm realizing this is the beginning of him leaving, eventually, and I have to practice that. So I am kind of cautiously feeling and maybe trying not to feel sad. But either way, it's exciting. He's excited, and it's the beginning of summer. This is still school, but that's what's going on for me this morning. I'm probably going to process some emotions later about that. But for now, I want to talk to you about these thoughts. If you've ever had these thoughts, then this episode is for you. And these thoughts are, leave me alone, right? If you've ever had that thinking when you're about, like with your kids, oh my God, leave me alone. I don't want to do this, but I have to, right? If you've ever thought that or felt that in a way, this episode is for you. So I've had a client say that to me recently with tears in her eyes and shame. And I've definitely felt that before myself, where I was like, oh my God, stop talking to me. Leave me alone. What do you want from me, right? So if you've ever felt that, whether you have little kids, right, or you have a lot of kids talking at you, or you're overwhelmed with work and the kids want something from you, whatever the reason, if you've ever felt that, here's what I want to say to you, okay? Actually, before I tell you what I want to talk about, I want to give you say that. So leave me alone is a thought. So if you remember me teaching this, that our thoughts create our feelings, right? So leave me alone is a thought that will create a feeling for you. And I don't want to do this, but I have to is also another thought that will give you a different feeling. So because these are thoughts and they create feelings for you, these are optional, right? I'm always a proponent for you. You have an option to not think those thoughts, okay? But in this episode, I actually want to talk about when you cannot easily stop believing these thoughts. And I want to tell you that if you cannot stop believing them, if you cannot get out of it, if you cannot switch to a different thought, like, oh, I don't have to do anything, everything's great, and really feel relieved, then this episode will really help you. And here's why. Because if you have these thoughts, and then on top of these thoughts, your opinion of them is something like, I should be excited to see my kids, or this should be easy, and you feel bad about feeling this way, you feel ashamed about yourself, like I should not dread being with my kids. I am a bad person, right? If you have judgments, if you have other thoughts about these thoughts that make you feel bad, then they will create something for you that will compound your suffering, okay? That shame is completely unnecessary, okay? So let me just go through what happens for you when you do this, right? So you are feeling like, okay, leave me alone. I don't want to do this, but I have to, like be with my kids or take care of them for 2 days or whatever. And then on top of that, you judge them. You think, I should be excited. You feel ashamed because you're not the way you think you should be, right? You feel ashamed. What do you do when you feel ashamed? Well, if I usually beat myself up, I don't feel good about myself, I try to distract myself also from feeling that. I try to, I try not to do this now because I'm a coach and I'm aware, but when I have not been aware, I would eat something or drink something to distract myself from that, to feel better. I would watch something. And this is what my clients do. This is what you might be doing. And this is why I want to bring your awareness to this so that you can have an option of changing it, okay? So again, this is all the feeling of shame and the beating yourself up and distracting yourself is coming from you judging your thoughts, judging yourself for thinking those thoughts. And you are probably not planning how you will spend time with your children. And you're probably not planning how to take care of your needs when you have to take care of your children. For example, if you have to spend the whole day with them tomorrow in their daycare now, instead of making a plan and thinking, strategizing, okay, how can I meet my own needs while I have to take care of these little kids? Instead of doing that, you are just beating yourself up. You are judging yourself. You're distracting yourself by eating something. Maybe you're complaining to somebody, right? Again, this is all passive. And if you are with your kids already, you might be yelling at your kids because you're frustrated, right? You're like, leave me alone. I don't want to do this. And so you don't, and also you're not showing up as the mom that you want to be for your kids and also for yourself, right? You're not being the best caregiver of your own needs, right? And so I want to offer to you that invite you to meet yourself where you are. That means maybe not judge yourself for feeling this way. And don't shame yourself. And instead of thinking, I should be excited, I should not, dread being with my kids. Instead, you could move towards yourself and think, of course I would feel this way, right? If you think about it, right, you can talk to yourself that way or listen to me. If you think about it, taking care of kids is hard, can sometimes be really hard, right? And sometimes you don't want to do it. Just like any other job, sometimes it is hard and sometimes you don't want to do it. And of course you feel this way. Of course you feel kind of dread or maybe frustration or just tired, right? Or maybe defeated, whatever feeling it is for you when you think those thoughts, meet yourself there and kind of agree with yourself. Be like, of course you're feeling this way. I totally understand that you would feel this way, right? And this is, of course, like if you were to talk to your girlfriend, right? And she would be like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I've been with kids for so long and it's so hard and they're fighting and whatever. You would say, oh my gosh, I know this is so hard, right? You would not start telling her how she should be excited to be with her kids, right? You would be supportive. You would meet her where she is. You'd be like, girl, I hear you. I have the same thing here and I understand. Maybe we can plan a coffee together. Are you going to take a break later? Maybe put a movie in for them and have a coffee, right? So meet yourself there, right? If you are feeling ashamed, this is what I want you to notice. I'm feeling ashamed. Okay, how can I drop it? How can I agree with myself, right? It's hard. Yes, I agree with you. It's hard. Leave me alone. I understand. You sometimes want to be alone, right? This is why I recorded in the last episode, the power of sometimes. Sometimes it's okay to not want to be with your kids, right? And so if you approach that state of your being with agreement, you're like, yes, of course. I'm entitled to feel defeated and tired and dreadful of spending time with my kids. Sometimes I feel that way. And now what, right? When you feel that understanding of yourself, of like, yes, this is totally fine, then what happens? From that feeling of understanding, let me show you what you can and will, and I'm sure you already do sometimes create, is this. From that feeling of understanding, your action flows so much differently than from your feeling of shame. Okay. So notice how the circumstance is the same in both scenarios where you are thinking, leave me alone. I don't want to do it, but I have to. That's the same. But what you think about that thought will determine your feeling and action. Okay. So I already talked about the feeling and action of shame and what that produces. Now I'm going to talk about a feeling of understanding or accepting or agreeing with yourself. Excuse me. So, from that understanding, you are going to take such better care of yourself just naturally because you're going to pay attention to what it is that you need because you're understanding, you're sensitive to what it is that you need. You're going to see what you're doing with the kids from the eyes of being a good mom. You're like, oh my gosh, like, this is hard and I want to do it, but you know what? Because I'm still doing it, I'm a good mom, right? And when you're taking better care of yourself and you're planning, you might be planning. If you're not, I really recommend you plan. How will I take care of myself while I'm taking care of my children? And you're going to take better care of your children if you could take better care of yourself, right? Like I know for sure I will need a break at 12 or 1. So I'm going to put on a show for them and I'm not going to feel guilty about it. And I'm going to enjoy some quiet time for myself. Maybe I will clean up the kitchen because clean kitchen and clean floors make me feel good and organized and not overwhelmed, right? And then I will sit down with a coffee. That's kind of what I like to do. So you're planning, you're taking good care, and you're showing up the way you want to for yourself and your kids. Okay, so notice how we didn't have to change your original thoughts. Leave me alone, I don't want to do it, but I have to, right? Because those thoughts are also optional, right? Sometimes you don't have them. Sometimes you are thinking, my kid needs me, I'm going to help him. This is totally fine. So, and the reason why I don't want you to change these thoughts is because those thoughts are human, of a human mom with human kids. And sometimes you are going to think thoughts that don't look pretty, like leave me alone, right? But if you agree with yourself and support yourself with these thoughts, you're going to be so much nicer to yourself and your kids. You're not going to yell at them. You're not going to overeat. You're not going to overwatch Netflix. You're going to just be nice to yourself. So if that is you, I hope this was helpful. I know that was me a few times and I definitely had some shame over it, but once you bring awareness to it, these thoughts kind of lose their power over you. You're like, oh, right, I see you. I see that I feel bad about this. I don't have to feel bad about it. How do I want to feel about this? And you can choose how you want to feel about this. You can choose how you want to feel about yourself, about your kids, and even how you want to feel about you thinking something like that. Leave me alone. I don't want to do this, but I have to, right? So I hope this is helpful for you for the summer, if you're home with your kids or anyone anywhere with little kids or any situation that actually triggers these thoughts in you. These thoughts are optional, but if you are stuck in them, have some compassion for yourself. Take care of yourself, support yourself while you're feeling the negative 50 of life, okay? And you will notice how much easier you will move out of these thoughts when you take care of yourself. You're like, oh, girl, I hear you. This is so hard. Little kids is hard. I'm so sorry. What can I do for you? How can we give you a break, right? Like, you're such a good mom because you want to take care of them all the time. You want to be excited with them. But I hear you. You don't feel like it right now. Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, I love you all so much, and I will talk to you next week. And you can always get help from me with any situation that you're stuck in with your kids, with your boy, with your parenting, and anything else in life. I would love to coach you. You can always go to my website, www.coachingnatalia.com, and go to the sign up for a free mini session. The first session is completely free, and you will really be giving yourself a gift of that time where you and I both talk about your life, and you will come out of that hour with a brand new perspective on life, and you will feel so relieved, and you will feel like you're taken care of, because you are taking care of your life by getting the help that you need or want. And I'm here for you, okay? So go sign up. I will talk to you soon. I do have a couple, maybe just 1 or 2 spots during the week, during the summer. So if you do need anything, I'll be there. But most of the time, I'll be taking care of my kids. And if you're listening to this any other time, just look at the calendar and pick a time that works for you. Okay, guys? I love you. Bye.